Right, number 14, suppose dy dx equals x plus y minus 1 and y equals 1 when x equals 1. Use Euler's method with increments of delta x equals 0.1 to approximate the value of y when x equals 1.3. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my xy table for this one. I know my initial condition is 1, 1. I know I need increments of 0.1, so my next x will be 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and I just want to find 1.3, so I can stop there. Okay, so now I'm going to do my steps. So step 1, we know that y prime is equal to delta y over delta x. Well, we know that y prime or dy dx is equal to x plus y minus 1. So I'm going to take my x and my y. I'm going to have 1 plus 1 minus 1. 1 plus 1 minus 1 will give me 1. So I'll get 1 equals delta y over delta x we know is 0.1. So if I cross multiply, I'm going to get delta y equals 0.1, which means I'm going to add 0.1 to my y value. So now I will have 1.1. So step 2. I still, again, y prime equals delta y over delta x. You might write that as m as well, it doesn't matter. Okay, this time I'm going to have x plus y minus 1, so I'm going to have 1.1 plus 1.1 minus 1. I'm using this second point here. When I do that, I end up getting 1.2 and equals delta y over delta, my delta x is 0.1. Cross multiply, I get delta y equals 0.12. So now I'm going to add 0.12 to my y value. When I do that, I get 1.22. Ready for step 3. So y prime equals delta y over delta x. My y prime this time, x plus y minus 1, is going to be 1.2 plus 1.22 minus 1. When I calculate that, I get 1.42 equals delta y over my change in x is 0.1. If I cross multiply, I'm going to get delta y equals 0.142. So now I'm going to add 0.142 to my y value, and when I do that I get 1.362, and it just asks me for that final value of y, so my final answer will just be 1.362. Okay, number 15, suppose dy dx equals x minus y and y equals 2 when x equals 1. Once again, use Euler's method with increments of delta x equals negative 0.1 to approximate the value of y when x equals 0.7. So once again, I'm going to make my xy chart. My first xy will be 1, 2. I know my increments this time are negative 0.1, so I'm going to have 0.9, 0.8, 0.7, and I get to stop because that's what I want, is 0.7. Okay, so step 1, y prime equals delta y over delta x. My y prime is x minus y, so in this case I'll do 1 minus 2. That will give me negative 1 equals delta y. Delta x is negative 0.1, so if I cross multiply, I will get delta y equals positive 0.1. So I'm going to add 0.1 to my y's, which will now give me 2.1. Right, step 2. Y prime equals delta y over delta x. Once again, to get y prime, I'll do x minus y, so it will be 0.9 minus 2.1. That will give me negative 1.2, which will equal delta y over delta, negative 0.1. Cross multiply, I'll get delta y equals positive 0.12. So now we're going to add 0.12 to both sides, and when I do that, I'll get 2.22. And so ready for step 3, we're going to have y prime equals delta y over delta x. My y prime will be x minus y, so it will be 0.8 minus 2.22. That will give me negative 1.42, and that will equal delta y over delta x, which is negative 0.1. If I cross multiply, I'll get delta y equals positive 0.142. So I will add 0.142 to that y value, and that will give me 2.362. The question asked me to find the value of y when x equals 0.7, so that value would be 2.362.